Howdy all, welcome to Lex Lives. I think it's time to play a little Minecraft. Alright. We'll see how long my voice can hold out. We had a long session of D&D today. Long. Not, you know, not as much of it was D&D as I would have liked it to have been. There was a lot of, bathroom breaks and snack breaks and the amount of trying to figure out what to do on their turn was driving me crazy. Like, just come on, just pick something. Just pick something. Pick it, please, please. But yeah. So, yeah, it was a much better session for the most part once we got going. We basically at this point have entered the undead city that we're just about done with, and they met the vampire who wants to rule the city, who's not necessarily a bad guy. And I wouldn't say he's a good guy, like he's not going to go out of his way to help people, but he does want to restore his family's ancestral city. I don't know why I keep doing this. This is not how Netherbrick works. And, so, you know, he wants things to return, maybe not back to what they were, but, you know, back to being a nice place. Oh, good job, dude. That was a great jump. But anyways, so, they went and they, shut down the automated magic armors that defend the city, that are under control of the evil wizard, who currently actually controls most of the city and destroyed most of the city in the past. And so they shut those down. They tried to enter a park last week and got banished from the Fey Grove in the park, which basically meant banished from the park itself. And then they worked their way into the academy I guess that was 2 weeks ago that they got banished from the oh, that's too far there, buddy. It was 2 weeks ago they got banished from the park. Last week they made it into the academy, which is one of the last, yeah, I'm going to fix that. One of the last freestanding buildings, since most everything else has been destroyed. And so, oh, now this is a problem. I guess we just do that, and then it's not a problem. And so they fought off some stuff on the outside of the building. They made it inside the building. The building is broken down into 4 wings on each floor. There's 2 floors, and in the center is a giant atrium style thing. There was like originally like a just a fancy like a park inside the building. It's not huge necessarily, but it is fairly large. It's the center is as big as the wings, and there are, and then the wings have multiple large rooms and hallways, and so it is this size of almost the size of a wing, just in the center. Because the wings are rectangular in shape, and the atrium is a square, and so anyways, they fought their way, they explored their way through the north wing of the first floor, and the north wing contained the like the kitchens and the dining room and stuff like that. In the kitchen they found, alright, so this is all glassed in now. I still need more netherrack to cook up to finish the roof. But that's getting pretty close. I need to pick what I want to do on the floor here. I think I'm going to go with red wool. And maybe I'll pick a red color. I don't know which color yet, though. From the clays. Maybe a terracotta border might not look too bad. Like a what's it called? Glazed terracotta? Whatever that's called. I can't remember. I don't have any shears on me, dudes. I gotta go back and get some shears. So, it would probably be better to use carpet, right? Because I can get more out of carpet than I can wool. And then I can just put down cobblestone or dirt or whatever, probably cobblestone, and then cover that over with the carpet. That'd look alright. And then while we're here, I can take a look at colors, decide what I want to do. And so after they explored all that, they found a stairway that led upwards, and then there was a stairway upwards in the main entryway, and they decided to continue on to the, because they came in from the east, they went to the north, they came back and decided to go to the south. This is the color I want right here, and that's just red concrete. Wait, let me look at that again. Maybe that's not the color I want. Maybe I'll use black concrete around red wool. That might look better. And so, they, I wonder if I have some black concrete in here. A tiny, tiny amount. I really thought I'd have more. I have lots of black concrete powder. And so, I can't believe this isn't nighttime yet. There you go. So they had seen a group of werebores and a stone golem leave, and they hid so it didn't get them, which was smart. And so then they let them go through, and then when they went inside, then they checked the dormitories, which was in the southern wing of the first floor of the academy, and of course there's nobody there because all the werebores that were there had been sent out to attack the library. I was gonna say librarian. They didn't go to attack the librarian. They went to attack the library, where the vampire's at. Mercadian is his name, and so. Ooh, I wonder if this will actually work correctly the first time. Nope. Never works right the first time. I don't understand why. It's so weird. Alright, now it should be able to just go ahead and finish itself at this point. I don't need to be here for this. So I'm going to go take what I've got, and I'm going to start, grab some... Ugh, do I have cobblestone? I might not have cobblestone. I'm always using it up. I should have cobblestone, though, because I used a bunch, and then I tore it down. Let me go check my chests over here where I was digging. So they didn't find anything in the south wing. Gotta remember where they're at. The problem is that we were holding the maps a different direction. Yeah, no, I have no cobblestone here. Huh. I thought I had a whole bunch of cobblestone. Where did I put it? And, just keep jumping while I eat. So they work their way back around and through the atrium. There's the atrium is actually walled off on the inside with kind of like glass. It's actually crystal, but you can see through it. You just can't break it. And so inside they see there's a bunch of creatures trapped in there, and so I have 18 kinds of dirt, but I have no cobblestone. Did I just throw all that cobblestone away? You know what? No, I cooked it into stone, didn't I? Yeah. Alright, well, let me go grab some cobblestone then. Down here in the old quarry. That pig has been here like the entire game now, just standing on that little ledge. It's crazy to me. That poor guy. Poor guy. And so they walk through and they see some fairy creatures trapped, like I said. And so the idea is, I hopefully they're catching on to what's going on here at this point, but the wizard is not alive, and he is obsessed with how life works, and so he's kind of like Frankenstein. I mean, he's a wizard, so he has spells and stuff, and they've seen him use his spells. They haven't run into him, but they did see him once collecting body parts, and so they fight a lot of flesh golems and stuff like that, which is chimera, things that are pieced together by the wizard, basically. And so they saw all the fairy creatures, and one of them is this dryad, and she's aware of them, frightened by them because she doesn't know what's going on, and she's been caged and tortured, and I expected them to try to talk to her or offer her comfort or something. And while they're standing there, the leader of the wereboars, who's on the second floor, activates a crystal that shoots lightning down into the cage, electrifying all the creatures that are in there, torturing them for fun, because he's a horrible bad guy. And so they didn't even respond to her, basically. Just nodded and kept going. I thought that was kind of funny. And then they entered the headmaster's office area, headmaster's workshop, headmaster's bedroom. And they fought Clay Golem in there, which gave them a pretty good tussle. And then that was the end of last week, and so this week they just had the second floor to go. And I wasn't sure how they were gonna go down with this, with the second. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Look at that. We have got ourselves a crevice here we've broken into. I wasn't sure how things were going to go down because I had more. One of the things that I've done is, because the city is so old, and the ruling class was elves, even though they're all gone now, except the vampire who's still alive. Or on life, I don't know what he is. They none of the words that they see are in the modern language, because it's been 450 years since this city was destroyed, and so they can't read any of it because their language has changed. Like English language has changed over the past 400 years, and so one of the things that cracked me up today was I was telling them they could see signs, but they're all in Ancient Elvish, and none of them speak Ancient Elvish. None of them are scholarly types. Like, if they were scholarly types, I might give them a chance to read it, but one's a druid from a forest or enclave, one's a dragonborn monk from a monastery, I assume in the mountains. They haven't actually given me much of their backstories yet. That's coming up soon. The other guy's a half-elf sailor, whose goal is to open a dockside tavern, he said. So, yeah, no, not a scholar. And then I do play a character with them, but he's a soldier from a tribe of desert elves, and does not speak Ancient Elven because that's not his thing. Maybe his sister, who's going to get added to the game here shortly, she could probably read it. In fact, I almost guarantee she can read it, because that's kind of her thing now, is studying ancient ruins, which is why she got in the predicament she's in. And I don't feel like that's enough cobblestone. And so, the one of them goes, okay, I speak Elvish, and you're telling me I can't read any of this? I'm like, no, this is Old Elvish. This is Old Elvish. You don't speak Old Elvish. You're not a scholar. You're not a wizard. Like, if one of them was a wizard, that would be something, but we don't have any wizards. We don't have any scholar types. They just are what they are. There's no mystery to these guys. They're basic people. You know? And so they I don't want to break that out. So he's like, well, come on, I can read Shakespeare plays. And I'm like, but here's the trick about Shakespeare plays. Shakespeare plays were written in modern English. And because he's like, they might not use, what do you say? They might not use you, and they use thou, but I can still read it. And I'm like, no. Shakespeare plays are written in modern English. They're one of the, it's one of the things that made them so famous, because England was switching over at the time, and more people could speak the modern language than the old version that all writing was done in, and so it was one of the first things to be done in modern English. And so I wrote down a bunch of words, and I gave him a chance. I wrote down a bunch of words in Old English, and I'm like, all right, here you go. What do these words say? You can read Old English. What do these words say? You speak English. Here's Old English. They couldn't decipher them, and I'm like, exactly. That's Old English. You're thinking of archaic modern English. which is a totally different animal. And so they couldn't read the signs, anyways, which would have made things a little easier for them, but not by much. Basically, they just wanted to be able to read the instructions on the control panels they kept coming across, but I thought it was more fun to make them try and guess. Um, Not that I felt it was that hard to guess. Like, for example, they saw the control panel that the boss of the werebores used to activate some animated armors. I kind of had a fun thing going, and well, that was another thing I guess we'd need to talk about, but I had a fun thing going where there were animated armors and golems in the room with the werepigs at the end, the werebores, and I kept calling them werepigs all day. And but they weren't activated, and so he had to activate them during combat. And so he activated one switch to activate the animated armors, but there was a different switch to activate the golems, and so they killed him before he could activate the golems, because well, I guess let's finish with that, and then we'll talk about the other thing that we did today that I thought was fun. So they they went into the laboratories in the southern wing first, and they saw a few things in the southern wing, like elementals and well, there were two rooms of laboratories of where the wizard was experimenting on living creatures. One was elementals, and so there were just these big crystalline cages, each one with a different element in it. And so they actually, trying to figure out the control panel, released the elementals, but the elementals are kind of benign and they didn't care. And so my nephew, though, who's 6, I think he's 6, decided, I've actually forgotten how old he is. He's either 6 or 5 or 7, somewhere in there. You'd think I could remember since we live in the same house, but no, I don't remember. And so he wanted to attack the water elemental that was just a 3-inch deep puddle sitting on top of the stone floor, and so he wasn't allowed to, and he was very angry about it. I got all this stuff, and I just realized that I only need that much. No, that's not true. I need it here. And so because that's where the carpet will go, and then this would go here. And so now I'm not sure I like the black there. You know what? I'll use the black against the window, I guess, and then I'll do the red carpet, the other two. Dang it. It's kind of hard to do. Okay, first off, let's take these out of my hand, because then I don't have to control this. And so then when they got to the next room, it had Chimera, Manticore, some kind of frog thing I thought might be fun for him to fight, and a bunch of slimes. But they got worried about the Manticore and the Chimera, so they didn't even touch the control panel in that room. And then when they got to another room, there was another small control panel, and they played with that. And it kind of cracked me up because there's a dial, and the dial is turned off. And so they want to open this door that the control panel's next to. So for some reason, they thought it'd be a good idea to turn the dial all the way on, and then pull the lever. And so when they did that, it activated the stone golem that was in that room, and so they had to fight that. And then after that, they made it to the library, where they met the guardian of the library, which was a gynosphinx, female sphinx, and the sphinx in D&D, the females like to ask questions like riddles, and so I thought that would be fun. They had to trade knowledge for knowledge, and except the knowledge was whether or not they could answer the riddle. They were not good at it. One of the riddles was water. I can't remember exactly what the riddles were because I had them on a list, and I don't have the list with me. One was about water. Because my nephew is so young, I did some goofier ones. So I did like, this pine is the sharpest and longest, or what kind of pine is the sharpest and longest pine, or what kind of pine has the longest and sharpest spines? And so it was porcupine. And he was like, I don't know what kind of trees there are. And so then they were trying to explain to him that it's a riddle and it has nothing to do with trees. One was water. I flow as smooth as rhyme. I like to fall, but I cannot climb. They got that one, but the way I was doing it, the person who was seeking knowledge had to answer the riddle. And since one of the other ones answered the riddle out loud to the Sphinx instead of giving the answer to the other person, which they continued to do, I don't know why they didn't just work together on that one. But, oh, I needed you to... And so they didn't get that much information out of the Sphinx, and she offered to let them take a short rest in her room since she protects it from because the wizard and his minions are not allowed in the library. And she does not get along with the wizard, and so there was actually a pile of dead bodies outside the library when they got there of creatures she had killed from the wizard. And so I need 2... You know what? I have 2 pieces of iron on me. Boom, boom. Yay! I made my first pair of shears since the recipe book updated for the 18th billionth time. So, yeah, so then they had to, after they talked with her a bit, and then she left and locked them out of the library, because she doesn't allow anybody in the library while she's not there. They went around to the other side of the building. They had to go back downstairs and then back up through the stairway in the kitchen. Because the walkways through the atrium are gone. Originally there's like double doors, like big double doors that lead to a walkway that goes through the little park on the inside, but the wizard has replaced all that, and so you can't go through the atrium like you're supposed to, and so the whole building is split up into weird sections now because of what he's done. And so they had to they had to go and go back down and back around through the kitchen, and then they fought. I was thinking in my head it was the last of the werebore groups, and then there's the boss werebore, of course. And then I forgot about the group that got sent out to attack the library earlier, who are still out there. And so they fought the one group, fought the boss and his group. They stopped him from flipping both sets of levers, and then they debated. They complained about taking too long, but they spent probably a good hour and a half on things that weren't the game, including their phones. And so you know, I had specific goal in mind before we finished, and I thought we would just end once I got to that specific goal, but they pushed on past that specific goal and for a while after they complained that we were taking too long, which is hilarious to me. And they're like, should we just quit here at the bottom? I'm like, there's one room left in the building. Can we just finish this building? And then that way we don't have to come back to it in a week or so. Because they're not going to be able to play next Sunday. They're going to have to play Monday. So we won't get the normal Minecraft talk, or Minecraft D&D talk in the next episode after the next one. But they yeah, so they decided to push on, and then I had a constructed beholder, which was based off the zombie beholder, and then I made it a little tougher because they're a higher level than a zombie beholder, and just a little tougher, just a smidge. Like, it only got 2 rounds of attacks before they killed it. But in those 2 rounds of attacks, it managed to knock out 3 of them. So, I think the one person got hit for like 68 points of damage. Because it can hit for up to 80. And they dodged the other 2 attacks of that magnitude. And then one of them was already hurt and took some damage. But yeah, so they got through all that, and then when they left the building, they ran into the Dryad because they rescued the Dryad. I still have it on me? All right. Just want to make sure I could get some. How much wool did I get? 38. Oops. I totally wasn't expecting that much red. I thought I was only going to get like 18. It's okay. It's what I needed. So anyways, so they got outside, and the Dryad lifted the banishment for the Druid, because we do a little thing in our game where you have if your level gives you something, like a new ability, then you have to go see a trainer. You can get your hit points, but anything beyond that, spell slots, hit points, spell slots, you can get those, but you can't get new spells, and you can't get new abilities. Stat increases I okayed, because one of the people took a stat increase, because that's a natural thing. Like, that's something that just happens to you. That's not necessarily something you trained in. I mean, you can train in that stuff, but it's not something you necessarily trained in. And I have a feeling that 57 carpet isn't enough, but I wanted to see what this looks like. It's a little brighter than I wanted, but there's not really dark red carpet. And so Yeah, I like that. And then we'll do something funky with the walls, with some colored concrete probably. But yeah, I think that's coming along pretty good. Uh, so they, anyways, they, hmm, I could probably start putting some white concrete on these side walls. I don't really know what I want to do yet. I know it's not going to be all colors. It is going to be mostly the white, probably, with some oranges and reds thrown in. Uh, so anyways, so the I thought that's where we would end, was with the banishment for the druid being lifted, but no. Then she one of the ones who wanted to quit, decided that she had to go get her level immediately. Oh no, I fell in the hole. I can't get out. And so she goes and she goes through that. And then while she's doing that, the other one who kept saying, "Can we just end here? Can we just end here? Can we just end here?" Decided that the nephew, he had to then go and do something while she was going up her level. So first she did this stuff for her level, and then he went and scouted out the library, and then and then when they got back from that, that was when we ended for the night. And so the 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 rogue has to go see a trainer, and the my guy actually took a feat for luck, and so I've been rolling a d20 randomly, and the first time I hit a 20, I'm gonna say he found a lucky coin, and that's how he gained his feat. I didn't get it today. I rolled about 7 times today and didn't get it. So it might be a while before I actually get my new level ability at this rate. And the druid had to go meditate in a fey grove, which she did in the park now that she isn't banished from it. Yeah, see, I like this. And so you can come in, you can see the lava pool from safety. Ooh, I don't like that torch in there, though. I gotta get that thing out of there. And, I mean, there eventually won't be any torches here at all. I will replace it with other sources of lights. Oh, there's a roof. I'm like, why can't I get up there? Because there's a roof, dummy. Oh man, I've gone on so long here, but I gotta finish. So, so yeah, so they got all that done, and then, oh, this will be interesting. I guess I can do this. And so they, so they went and, that's about it. They got their level stuff, and then most of us have to go back to see a trainer or have to roll the dice until we get our new ability. And then that was where we ended, and so we'll pick back up about a week and a day. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I think I can do real quick, is sometimes they update the game and how it works. And one of the updates that they gave out to play with was a new way to see what turn order you go in. And normally you roll a dice, and then you take that number, and that's when you go. A 20-sided dice, so the numbers 1 through 20. And so if you roll a 1, you go last. If you roll a 20, you go first. That kind of thing. If 2 people roll a 20, then they can determine who's going to go first, who's going to go second. If a bad guy rolls a 20, they go after the person who rolled a 20. That kind of thing. And then there's some stats that play into it, and so you might increase or decrease the bonus on your initiative roll. And so the new way that they came up with to work at it is every type of action costs a different amount. And so I didn't really read those rules very carefully. I basically just printed off what each action was worth on the dice, kind of made my own system based off of it. And so, like, to move cost you a roll of a 1d6. You could get a 1, you could get a 6. To attack cost either a d4, a d8, or a d10, depending on what kind of attack you're doing. Ranged, melee, or spell. And any kind of action that's not an attack is a d6, and I think that's about it. And so we tried that out today. I kind of liked it. It really mixes up how the turn orders work, because you never know if you're going to get to go first, last, and it changes every round because the current way doesn't change at all. Once you roll that turn order, that's it. The new way was kind of fun, and they said they wanted to try it again next time we play. So sounds like they might not think it was too bad either. All right, with that, click like if you like, subscribe, share, and catch the next one, and I will talk to you later.